Hi, I'm Gene McClory. I'm with the Caregiver Assistance Network of Catholic Charities of Southwest Ohio. We are offering, through the Caregiver Assistance Network, a variety of services for family caregivers. We provide support groups, we provide talks throughout the area, and we also have a caregiver care line. But today, in this segment on home care, we're going to give you an opportunity to learn some very helpful information on making transfers, moving, for example, a patient, your loved one, from bed to chair or bed to wheelchair. And to do that, we are very fortunate to have with us two registered nurses who are caregiver educators, Nina Witchard and Margie Burledge. Thank you for being with us for this podcast today. And we're going to show some very practical matters, and we ask you, the caregiver, to watch closely. Thank you.
Okay. Margie is going to be our patient today. So she's going to be laying down. What we're going to do is we're going to help Margie to get up out of bed and into the wheelchair. We call that a transfer. So what I'm going to do, you're always going to tell your person what you're going to do so they know what's happening. So Margie, I'm going to help you get up now. We're going to sit at the side of the bed, and then I'm going to help you get over into the wheelchair.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Margie's already dressed. I'm just going to pull this down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to assist her to sit up. You can put your arms down by your side, and I'm just going to put my arm underneath her shoulders, and I'm going to assist her as she's sitting up. She's a little weak today, so she needs some help. And we're going to turn like this. I'm going to support her under her knees and turn her just like that. Okay. Now, what I want to do is give her a little bit of time to sit on the side of the bed so her body can adjust to go from a lying position to a sitting position. If someone gets up too quickly, that can cause them to experience some temporary dizziness, which can contribute to falls. So what we're going to do is I'm going to position the wheelchair, and I see that we did not put our footrest on the wheelchair, so we're just going to do it without the footrest today. Now, if Margie had perhaps had a stroke, and she had one side of her body that was weaker than the other, then that would play a part in how you decide to position the wheelchair. So what you're going to try to do is, if you do have one weak side and one strong side, you should position the wheelchair so that it is next to the strong side of her body. So we'll pretend either she doesn't have a weak or strong side, or that her right side is her strong side. So what you're going to do is you're going to have the wheelchair as close as you can get, but you want to leave enough room that she's able to stand and to pivot and can safely get over there. Now, we'll just demonstrate in another segment about wheelchair safety in general, but what we do want to remember is that we're going to put the brakes on. Put both brakes on the wheelchair so that once she gets to it, it does not start to scoot away from her. We want it to be stable and steady. Okay, I'm going to put her shoes on her. You should have her shoes on her feet. That also helps to prevent falls so she doesn't slip. Okay. All right, now this is a good demonstration because I happen to be a short person and Margie is a tall person. So we're going to demonstrate that even a shorter family member could assist a taller person out of the bed without much difficulty. Now, Margie is able to help me. If you don't ever want to do what we call a total lift on your own, by yourself. A total lift is where the person is quite incapacitated, does not have any strength, and is not able to assist in any way. But Margie can assist with this, so I can safely do this. I want to remember my own body mechanics again. So I'm going to have, through this procedure, I'm going to have my feet spread apart at least 12 inches, and I will be bending my knees slightly, again, to take that pressure away from my lower back and use my long leg muscles to support me in this procedure. All right, here's what I'm going to tell Margie to do. She already has scooted to the edge of the bed, so her feet are on the floor. So Margie, I want you to have your feet spread apart a little bit. When you have your feet apart, it gives you a broader base of support so that you will not topple over from one side to the other. And I'm going to ask Margie to make a fist with both of her hands. Now, with the knuckle side down, I'm going to ask her to be prepared by having her knuckles down on either side of her thighs. When I tell her to, she's going to push that way, and she can help push as I'm assisting in lifting her up. I want her to lean her upper part of her body forward a little bit so she's actually leaning into the transfer. I'm going to position my feet so they are actually touching her feet, sort of blocking them at the front. My knees will be across from her knees. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to put my arms around her, under her arms, and around to her back. You never want to put your arms in the armpit to lift somebody. That is not the good way to do it. You really want to just support around to the back. So what I'm going to do with Margie, she's leaning forward, her fists are in position with the knuckles down. When I say 3, I want you to push as I will also be lifting. What I'm going to do, I'm going to count to 3. With each number, we're going to rock forward a little bit. That gets a little momentum going. Then on 3, we will come up, Margie.
Okay.
Okay, so my knees are across from hers, my feet are blocking her feet. Okay, here we go. And I'm bending my legs. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Up she goes. Okay, now I'm going to continue to hold on to her because she might be a little unsteady. Okay. Are you okay now?
Mm-hmm. I'm
All
good.
right, she's good. I'm going to step back. And Margie, I want you to take tiny steps, walk over. We're backing, and I'm helping her and holding on. She took about 3 or 4 small steps. She will not sit down until she feels the chair at the back of her legs. Can you feel the chair?
Yes, I can.
Okay, now grab the side, and then I will help lower her into the chair. And that's how it goes. Pretty easy. Okay, now what we're going to do, again then, is we're just going to reverse the process, which is fairly simple. So, and you always want to be aware that as the day goes by, your loved one's abilities may be changing. If she's been up for several hours, she may be more tired at this point and a little bit weaker. So I always want to be aware of that. Be aware of how your loved one is feeling at the moment so you don't get any surprises in the middle of your transfer. Okay, we're going to get back to bed. I think what we're going to do, I'm going to move the chair up just a little bit. If I'm putting her in bed for a nap or for the night, I want to get her bottom to be pretty much where I want it to be. I don't want to get her into the bed with her sitting way down here because then I have the problem of getting her to scoot up towards the head of the bed. So I want her to be pretty far up in the bed so I don't have to adjust her very much once she's in. So I'm going to put the brakes on again. We're going to do the same procedure. We're just doing it backwards. Okay, I want her to spread her feet a little bit and not have them too far out. You've got to keep them under you. Okay? And I want, this time she doesn't have to do the knuckles. Just going to ask you to put your hands on the arms of the wheelchair and you push up when I say 3. And I'm going to have my knees across from hers. The reason for that is if she gets weak and her knees start to buckle, then my legs will be there as a support to keep her from falling. Okay, are we ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, she made it. Again, we're going to stand here for a few seconds. We don't want to turn right away unless she's extremely weak and says, I can't stand here, then we're going to go faster. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, a few little steps. I'm still supporting her. Now, when you feel the bed at the back of your legs, you can begin to sit. There we go. Very good. I might get the chair out of the way. Put her shoes off. And I'm going to help her lay down. I'm going to support her at the shoulders, help to bring her legs up, and then down we go. Very good. She's ready for a snooze. And that's the way you do a safe transfer.
Nina and Margie, you make a great team. Thank you so much for a very practical demonstration of transfers. And if you who are watching feel that there's one or the other step that you'd like to review, all of these podcasts on home care and all the other podcasts that are offered through the Caregiver Assistance Network are archived, and you can get back to them at your convenience. As I mentioned in the introduction, there are 3 other segments on issues for family caregivers that are extremely practical. One on shampooing, another one on bed bath, and another one on assistive devices. So keep that in mind, and you can spot those on your screen and get back to the archived material anytime that you want. We are really grateful that we have these, and we also, as I mentioned, have the Caregiver Care Line. And by calling 513-929-4483, you can get a variety of information on resources on family caregiver issues. So please take advantage of that information on support groups, information on talks, information on various services available through the Council on Aging and elsewhere. As you look at your screen, you see that there are a number of organizations involved with health care that could be very helpful to you, perhaps, as a family caregiver. These are our sponsors. Were it not for you, the sponsors of these podcasts, we would not be able to offer them to you. So we want to express our thanks for their generosity, and we want to encourage you to turn to the sponsors for assistance in various areas that you might look for help as family caregivers. So you also, by clicking onto the sponsor's website, you can get detailed information on the services that they provide. In closing, we want to remind you, the family caregiver, to take care so that you are there to care for those who are counting on you for their care. Remember, caring matters.